Yo, what is up everyone? So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how we cash collected over $45,000 for one single client, right? In 30 days, right? And the thing was, with this client, we were running with an unqualified audience. We had less than 10k followers across 3 platforms, 2 Instagram accounts, and 1 YouTube account. And we had broken systems. And we were leveraging one simple marketing rule, which actually pulled us through this whole marketing scheme that allowed us to collect so much money. And by the way, we did this without paid ads. All we did was just boost the content. So let's get right into it. Now, just to kind of preface everything, right? I came into this offer with only 10 days to launch and set up the sales, marketing, and backend operations and systems, right? I had to bring in the people, I had to build out the operations. At that time, I was running as a lean one-man show, and I had some people obviously for sales closers and appointment setters. I wasn't doing that myself. 95% of the organic audience was from a developing country, which was Pakistan, and you can imagine how hard this was, right? Imagine trying to sell to people that want to buy but have no money to buy, right? That's the worst kind of objection because they have no money at all, right? It's not even a smokescreen. The last thing was that this guy had a tiny audience, less than 10k, across 2 Instagram accounts and 1 YouTube channel, which I'll be showing you right below. Now, to show you what this offer actually was, right? It was a 3k USD coaching package, which right now we are running at 5k. It was a 12-week program with one-to-one coaching to scale your content agency. So it was a B2B offer. And we were, again, like I said, we were able to collect over $45,000 in 1 month with an audience mainly from Pakistan, right? It's like we squeezed all the rich people out of Pakistan. So this was actually his geographics and what it was in YouTube and Instagram. So 70.9% was from Pakistan, and you can see here 7.5% was from India. And then if we go into one of his Instagram accounts, right, 93.7% is from Pakistan. Then we United States coming in at a clutch 2.3, United Kingdom and India, right? So Pakistan was making up a lot of it, and this was mainly because of his branding and how he actually positioned himself in the market. So you can see this is my client. His name is Omar. These are his 2 channels for Instagram and then his 1 YouTube channel, right? So he was helping content agencies scale past 60k a month, and this guy's very qualified to do this, by the way. That's one of the reasons we were able to sell so well, because he had great social proof. He had worked with very big people and had scaled his agency itself to over 85k a month. At the time it was 78k a month, but still he had very good goodwill with the market, which is one of the reasons we were able to create so much money, because they knew who he was. He was a household name in the content agency space. So what strategies did we actually use to be able to collect so much money? So there's 3 main strategies, right? So we used what was called the 3% readiness rule, conversion mechanism. So essentially we pushed them from attention, which was our traffic, to conversation to conversion. So we pushed them to the DMs. And then we also understood that we were optimizing this for as much conversion as possible, not for longevity, right? And essentially it was to optimize to convert the 3%, which I'll go right into right now. So if you guys aren't aware, only 3% of your audience is ready to buy at any given time, right? This means that these are your highest intent leads that are the ones that you convert via direct marketing. So you can just say it to them directly, hey, I'm selling this, and they would be the ones to buy because they know you, they like you, and they trust you, right? So this is how it looks. So 3% of your audience is always ready to buy. 7% of the audience is open to buying. 30% of your audience is thinking about buying. 30% of your audience doesn't even know if they're interested, and 30% of your audience or the market is not even the ICP, right? So how this would look, right, is these are the people that know you the most, they trust you the most, they've watched your content, they've watched 7 hours of content, they've had 11 touch points, they've been to 4 different platforms of yours. The 7% are people that are a bit more warm. Maybe they've gone to 1 to 2 different platforms and just really need a push over the edge to really become a person that is ready to buy now. 30% of the audience would be people that would maybe come from like cold traffic. Maybe they've watched 1 or 2 YouTube videos of yours. They just haven't been nurtured enough, which you need to allow them to naturally go through that process, or you can just force them, if they're in your email list, send them emails, send them YouTube videos, things like that. This other 30% here would be like cold audience, right? They've just seen your ad, they've seen 1 to 2 ads, and they're like, who's this person? They're trying to really learn who this person is. And this other 30%, right, is just the people that fell through the cracks that you really are not trying to sell to at all, because they are not ICP, right? So we optimized this whole launch to really convert these main 2 demographics, but mainly this 3% here. This was the real driver here, right? Because we understood this, we knew that we had to optimize to convert the 3% of the audience ready to buy now. We had no time to really nurture them at all. 10 days is not a lot of time, and that's the point of launches, right? To squeeze that 3% out and some of that 7%, right? And just get them to buy so you can validate the offer, right? Because these guys are your raging fans. These are the people, if you can't convince these 2 demographics to buy, there's no way you're going to be convincing these other ones to buy at all, right? Because if they already loving you and you're still not selling them, how are you gonna be able to sell to someone that doesn't even love you? So when we did do the launch, right, we optimized for as much cash as possible so we could invest it for later on and to see if people would even buy our offer. So we were essentially validating the offer. Now, one big mistake we did make though is we did no market research nor any offer construction. We saw what we thought was best for our audience. Now, going further down, the reason we were able to collect 45K is because we understood the buyer's readiness, which I just showed you, which allows you to target and create marketing campaigns and efforts to optimize for specific people. The buyer's readiness rule is a funnel and also something that you constantly want to replenish that with. So what that means, right, is that if you flip this upside down, this triangle upside down, right, you would kind of want to always make sure that there's always that 3% ready to buy, right? Always moving people further down into the funnel, right? Of course, as the funnel goes, it gets bigger and bigger. So this would be the 7%, 3%. And as you sell these 3% that are ready to buy, more people that are ready to buy come in to replace those people so you can sell to them again. So that's essentially what I was trying to say here. And one caveat to this whole entire rule though is, especially with launches, right? The reason that launches do so well is because they're optimized to convert the 3% that is ready to buy, right? They're not optimized to really nurture people. It's just a way to really collect cash and validate the offer, or really to introduce a new product. If the offer's already been validated, it's just to really introduce a new product. And it's a great way to gain your fundamental structure for your business so you can grow and invest into paid ads and things like that, which is exactly what we're doing right now. So this is the reason why you see a lot of people make a lot of money in the first month, when the second and third month, they might not be making as much there because they don't know how to actually maintain the longevity, which is what we understood because of his audience, right? Especially his audience. So we knew we had to just collect as much cash as possible. So how do we actually collect the cash and what was the launch strategy itself? Since all of our leads were unqualified, we don't want to allow them to be able to book easily through our content, bios or descriptions until our power offer itself. So we were mainly doing it, like I said here, our conversion was through conversation, right? So here was the actual launch strategy. It was a 5-day marketing effort and campaign where each one was a systematic story that went from one to the other. So how did this look? So in the first day, right, majority of the marketing, right, to hype it up was done on Instagram, by the way. In the first day, content was optimized to target a specific pain or problem of our ICP and to offer a lead magnet which help resolve that pain. So essentially what this would do, these reels would prime the audience by talking about a direct problem or solution that they would have or already want to solve, right? So the reason that we would call that out their problem is because these are the people that we want to target. The people that we want to target would have these problems. So this is essentially what we did, and we would offer a lead magnet to try and get them to the DMs, thus how we actually started a conversation. And we did this for day 1, 2, 3, and 4. It was the same thing. We offered a lead magnet for a different problem every single time, right? And a good thing that you could see about this, right, is let's say you targeted a different problem for every day. You could see the engagement from each one, and whichever one that had more engagement would probably mean it was a thesis, but we never really tested it, but it was a thesis that if one had more engagement than the other, we could see that that was a bigger pain compared to others. And that was what we would put on like marketing headlines, right? We'd say, solve this problem, we'll help you solve this problem. So on day 5 was our pilot offer. So this one was direct response. There was direct marketing telling them about our offer to optimize conversion of the 3%, plus convince the 7 to 10% that are open to buying, right? So to day 5, we were really just trying to direct sell them. So how do we do this? So all these were days we were hyping up to day 5, and then day 5, we essentially did a ManyChat automation where they would call CTA a keyword like we did above here, but it was a reel to a VSL. And the VSL was a YouTube VSL, which is automatically sent to them, like I said, via ManyChat. The reason we actually sent them the VSL as well is because we want to also convert the 7% that were open to buying. Remember, there was a 7% open to buying into becoming one of the 3% ready to buy. And like I said, these guys just needed a push over to the other end, right? And this VSL was what it was going to do. The VSL was designed to be a belief shifting but also educational piece of content, so it could be optimized to get those sitting on the fence over the fence ready to buy. Because we didn't have to convince this 3%, we had to convince these people. And there was no point trying to convince these people because this would be a longer effort. So after we pushed them to the YouTube VSL, in the description of the video itself, we would push them to a Typeform qualification, which had no video sales letter on the actual website. There was no gated VSL or free training or anything like that because they already watched this itself. This was extremely necessary because of our geographics. They had no buying power. So we had to run it to a way where we had to qualify them really, really thoroughly. So here we essentially asked them a bunch of questions, but the one main question we asked, right, is your current monthly income. So if they said below 1K a month, we would essentially down sell. And this was really key because we collected a lot of cash through these down sells, which was a $500 one-time offer to a course plus a community, right? Which is a really good value proposition. So they click below how much their current monthly income was, below 1,000, we would downsell them, right? And then from the downsell, right, we would collect a lot of cash. They would just pay the 500, because mind you, even though these guys didn't have this $3,000 to pay, something 6 times less the price, they might have the money for, the ability to scrounge up that money. So that was what we did. We pushed them all to the Typeform. So anyone that was coming organically through our content, through our videos, they would have to go through Typeform instead of our appointment setter DMing them. And also with the VSL, when we did the reels through the VSL, right, through the ManyChat automation, appointment setter also messages, sets, qualifies, and creates a gap to get them on a call. We would also get the setter to just make sure that they book on the call if they're not already on there. So this was the same thing we did for the first 4 days, by the way, where we had the setter also DM them, right, to see if we could qualify them and get those early leads in and get some cash collected into the door. So that was the entire launch strategy that we did to be able to actually collect cash. Now, the only other thing that we really did that allowed to bring in a little bit of extra leads was what's called story sequences, right? So we did the framework of HSO, which is called Hook Story Offer. So this is actually the framework that we use for three stories. If you have longer ones, like 4 to 8 ones, which we have done for other clients before, you might have to use different frameworks, or maybe just lengthen the story a little bit out, but still make it really compelling. So HSO, so the hook, here is where you state an undeniable fact about the market, open with a problem or desire that your ICP completely understands or agree with. Show them as well how you faced with this problem so the audience can connect with you. Then you would tell them to go to the next story, and then you would tell them a story of how you overcame that problem or got to where their desired state is, which is where you are now. Come from a place where you are less than your ICP so they can even resonate with you more. So for example, right, if their current situation was university, you could even say that you couldn't even afford university, and they'd be like, wow, this guy came from a place less than me and now he's up here, which is where I want to be. The final one was offer. Just give your offer, relate it back to the problems, the desires. So you say, if you want help fixing X problem, DM me this keyword, and the appointment setter would then set them. So like I said, really pushing them all to the DMs. The final strategy we did was we optimized for conversion of the 3%, not longevity. We just tried to get as much cash into the door. Since we were aware that ICP was not the right geographic, we knew that 3% was the only chance that we had to make a good chunk of the money. So we had to create content optimized to converting them. This was also why we did the VSL, so we could get those that were the 7% to potentially buy. This was not enough, as the geographic where the content was being pushed just did not have money. The Pakistani people just did not have the buying power. So we decided to boost posts, which isn't ideal, as we knew the goal of this launch was to collect cash so we could invest into ads for longevity. Since we couldn't optimize our quality, right, due to the geographic, we had to optimize for quantity and just the sheer volume. So this is the actual post that we did. So we did, again, like I said, we did a 5 post sequence, right? And these were the posts that we did, which we boosted. So this was one of the main problems or desires that we targeted. Land your first client. My agency generated me over 78K a month, right? How to scale your content agency. And you can see that these content pieces are very boosted. 183K views, 102K views, 158K views. This isn't an ideal strategy for longevity, but for the launch, it was very good. Now you can see, just for reference, right, you can see how much views he gets with this other pieces of content. 26K views, 1,000 views, 31,000 views, 737, 4,800, 359. So you can really see the discrepancy that we did when boosting the posts, because we had no time to run proper ads and test and do all that kind of stuff. So that was pretty much the launch sequence. Now, the other main key factor that allowed us to close a lot was our sales process once we booked them in. This was really, really key, and it is a place where a lot of things went wrong as well. So this was a sales process that cash collected us over $45,000. So once they booked the call, they would instantly what would happen, so we have 2 sides of things. So we would have the manual side and then the automated side. First we'll go through the automated side to show you email flows and SMS reminders that we had going out, and also the manual applications that our closers and setters did. So instantly, as soon as everything happened, we had the prospect got an SMS reminder and an email reminder just about the book call and date time confirmation. And also what we would do is send them case studies, right, and to confirm their call on the calendar. Now, 48 hours before, right, we would send an email reminder and also send out case studies again. This is really key because we want to send out case studies so that we can get them to trust us more and let them know that this program can work for them. We needed them to trust us on 2 levels: the person, which was Omar, and to trust the actual offer itself and the mechanism that we can actually deliver it to them. Now, 24 hours later, before the course, right, we sent another email reminder and SMS reminder. So basically just time confirmation, case studies, rescheduling. Every single email we would just throw out case studies, right? 4 hours before, it was just the email reminder and time confirmation. 1 hour email reminder, SMS confirmation, and then that was it. From there, it was mainly a lot of the manual side. Now, the manual side is actually where you make sure that these leads show up on the call. If you don't do this, your show rate could potentially decrease a lot. So what do we actually do? As soon as they booked in, right, a messaging channel, WhatsApp or SMS closer reaches out to the prospect. After booking, we get the closer to send the post-booking video process to ensure that they watch it, the lead watches it. So we tell them that they must watch it or else their call will be cancelled because the call won't be as productive as it had key information they needed. So what we would also do is get client familiar with the offer through offer decks, and also just a video selling the client and the mechanism as well. Now, what we also did was the closer calls them to confirm the time and introduce themselves. This was really, really important that the closer introduced themselves because they weren't aware. Like they were thinking maybe, almost hop in the call. So we need to make sure that they were comfortable to decrease the friction when it came to the call. So what the closer also did is try to figure out a problem that they had and create a gap. Now, 48 hours before, right? Now, these are just like approximated figures. They would do this whenever they could. The closer would send them case studies showing them what is possible. But what we also implemented quite late into it is we incentivize the clients with a custom roadmap, right? So closer tries to figure out the problem and pre-handle them and pre-frame them, right? And then we will also say that we're creating a roadmap just for them, which will essentially help them get to success, but they could only get it if they hopped on the call. That was what the roadmap was. And that was sort of a second incentive to make sure they really hop on the call, besides the fact that we could really help them with their problems. 24 hours before the call, the closer would call them and also send case studies. Closer tells the client that they can help them out with the X problem that they framed. And also we send a custom video. So the closer would just send a video like this saying, hey, really excited for the call, and to really humanize themselves and let them know that they're not talking to a bot. Now, 4 hours of call, closer just texts to remind them. 1 hour, calls in 1 hour plus send a link. And then when the call occurs, closer texts them to remind them plus link if they haven't showed up already. And this was an entire sales process that allowed us to collect over $45,000 in cash with a very, very, very unqualified audience. Now, one really big thing that I haven't gone through, right, is the amount of things that went wrong. There were an insane amount of things that went wrong, and it was a huge learning curve, which was a really good experience. So I'm gonna go right through them now. So this was the entire list of things that went wrong. First of all, SMS wasn't running with DHL, right? We weren't able to send out SMS messages. Content was being pushed, but it wasn't to ICP. It was being pushed to Pakistani people, right? Organic audience hadn't actually broke leads. We had no ads besides boosting posts. We had the wrong belief system ourselves. We thought that some people in Pakistan had money. Most were really just freebie seekers, which sucked. We couldn't sell anything. We only had 10 days to launch a brand new offer. There was no market research done. If we did the market research, we would have figured out they had no money or buying power. Automations were breaking. Sometimes links wouldn't even send for the calendar calls. We brought on the wrong closers to start, and then also the language/ethnicity barrier. This here, I want to go into a bit more depth in. So when we brought on the closers, right, it was actually two closers that had, I'm trying to be racist, but they had black skin color, right? And when you bring two people in a market that is so unfamiliar with them, right? Because remind you, these people are born in Pakistan. Some of them have never seen maybe like as many like white people or black people, right? So when they hop on a call with a black guy, right, they're like, holy shit, I have never seen this guy of this skin color before. Again, not trying to be racist, but this is exactly what happened. Like, I'm saying this in a much nicer way compared to what was conveyed on the sales calls as well. This was a huge learning curve that the geographic, psychographic, and demographic of a person and of a market affects who you should really bring in as well. Now, this obviously, if it was a more Westerner, it wouldn't really affect us as much just because of the cultural diversity, but because of these more concentrated countries, so in Asia, Africa, things like that, you have to be really aware of this. Like I said, the biggest lesson was understanding a market, different demographics, psychographics, and geographics, and how it can change how you do the marketing, messaging, and hiring, like every single step of the process, right? If we had a bigger audience, right, we would have essentially ran a low ticket offer, but we just didn't have the sheer volume for a low ticket offer, right? It would have been better and more aligned with the audience and their buying power, but we made more money through high ticket just because we knew how to squeeze out as much of the audience through the 3% rule. Now, if you are a coach or a content creator that wants to scale their audience and monetize their audience, or maybe you're already monetizing, making 5K a month, right, with your offer, and want to scale past 50K a month consistently, by the way, because right now we're doing this, we're running ads as well for this person, and we're making money consistently. If you want us to help you out and come in your business, do it completely done for you, right? Just check the first or second, I haven't figured out where it's going to go, link below, and then book a call with me, and I'll see how we can help you out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.